Green lights, baby. Let's go.
Hey kids, what time is that?
And that's it. Short intro, and welcome to our special live stream. We're going to review Zack Snyder's cut of the Justice League, and I'm going to bring in my Justice League one person at a time. I will be playing Batfleck here. I'll be Bruce Wayne, and I'm going to collect my all-star cast of wonderful people. Much like Bruce Wayne, he is surrounded by just top-notch human beings, and luckily I am as well. So I'm going to start by bringing in Normie Sue. How are you, Stacey?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
Great. I brought you in first because we were one of the few people in the entire world who got to watch this on a giant screen in a giant cinema with heated seats and yummy popcorn, and that was because of you.
Yeah.
Really
well,
appreciate your effort and all the legwork you did to make that happen for us.
That was my pleasure. It was amazing seeing it on the big screen.
Yeah, I think that after seeing it in a theater, that WB should reconsider perhaps making this streaming only, because I think the experience of being immersed in a theater, you know, in the dark, surrounded by the sound and the picture, it makes a difference, I think. And I think people watching it at home are being sold short.
Absolutely. You get the full effect when you're there. I mean, I'll try watching it on my small flat screen, and I'm sure it won't even come close to comparing. But
yeah, I the reaction, I was just, everybody who was with us last night, there were about 20 of us in attendance, and everybody was just so immersed in it. It was, there was applause. We all applauded at the end, and I shouted.
And I never do that, but it felt like it was, the right thing to do.
It really did. Let's bring in our next Justice League member. Here we go. I'll bring in Edson Gomes.
Hey.
How are you, Edson? Now, Edson wasn't with us at the theater, so it'll be interesting to hear how he received this on a television set.
Absolutely.
Not as good as a theater, I could say that.
Yeah. Sorry you couldn't join us, brother.
I know.
Let's add to our Justice League, shall we, and bring in our good pal, Spoiler Pete.
Hello there.
Pete and I carpooled to the movie last night.
Yes, that was an experience. That was definitely. I'm glad I can say that I saw it in the theater.
Yeah.
They didn't even premiere it at the director's. The director didn't even see it in the theater.
That's right. Zack Snyder had to watch it at home, and of course, his screen.
I mean, he's probably huge. Yeah.
But
probably is a theater.
Ours was bigger.
Zach, you're watching. Should have come East Coast here. Could have been with us. Let's bring in the next member of our Justice League, shall we? This next member it's like our plucky Ezra Miller here. It's Judah Buddha.
What's going on? Good morning, everybody.
How'd you like the experience?
It's great. It was so amazing. I mean, I'll tell you the truth. Just sit in the theater with you guys and just, clapping, and then the intermission, getting together and talking about the movie. It was so just... And the popcorn, and I don't know, the whole experience.
Of course, the popcorn.
Yes, always.
Movie popcorn, right? It's so bad for you. But I mean, seeing it in the theater, and again, I was texting other people who were watching it while we were in the theater afterwards, and they were bored. They were saying, "Oh, this is kind of slow. I'm taking a break. I don't know if I can sit here and watch the whole 4 hours of it on my couch." And I'm like, "Are you killing? What? This is great." So our experience was completely different than probably a lot of people globally.
It was. Hail Jedi 6. How are you? Heated seats in the theater sounds amazing. I always bring a blanket to a movie. It is amazing.
And they recline. And I did bring a blanket too.
And there were food
It was pretty good all around.
And it looked good and sounded great.
Beautiful. And yeah.
For the
Let's bring in our next member of the Justice League. Now we have a problem here. This must be multiverse Batman, because I'm already here.
Wow.
Alan's calling. How are you?
Batman.
Alan, you sat sort of next to me in the theater. Same row.
Good. How are you? Hi, guys.
Your volume's a little low.
Hello, Batman.
Okay. What'd you think, man?
I loved it.
And that's it. That's our review, folks. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
All right, now it's time. We're going to go outside our normal group of lovelies here and bring in two esteemed guests. These guys I've known for a couple of years now. I've been producing a comic book documentary for the last 4 or 5 years called Charlton Comics, the movie. And I was lucky to meet both of these people as a result of it. And they've been huge supporters, good friends, and they're wonderful to the community. So if you're ever out on the East Coast, make sure you attend Mr. Mitch Hallock's Terrificon. Mitch, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Little tired, but you know.
Yeah, you and I were direct messaging pretty late last night.
Yeah. Ordway and I had about an hour and 30-minute drive back to our
Wow.
Yeah, and then I had to get up at 5 to be on the radio this morning. So you guys, you guys are getting special 2-hour sleep, Mitch.
Oh wow!
All right.
Pretty fun.
That's the
So
best one.
We're getting you in shape for your con. That's all.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
not in shape.
Yes.
You're off. So.
I've had a year off now.
Training,
so-
yeah, training.
Yeah, training like Rocky.
Exactly.
So we got one more person to bring in here, and this is a funny story actually, because Pete and I were driving to the theater. It was raining out. It was kind of bad weather yesterday, and we saw this guy hitchhiking. Right. So we pulled over. We said, "Hey, you all right, man?" He said, "Yeah, I'm going. I just want to go to the movies, and my car broke down. I'm hitchhiking." And he claims that he writes comics and whatnot, but he seemed trustworthy enough that we gave him a ride. Ended up, he was Mr. Jerry Ordway. How are you, Jerry?
That was only in the Whedon version of the movie, so.
Yeah.
That's why he was so quippy.
All right.
In the Snyder cut, Mitch drove me, so.
I did.
Yeah, for people watching, I made that whole hitchhiking.
I know.
Really?
I was all set to do a rules of the road joke, but I held off.
Don't pick up hitchhikers. Yeah. So welcome panel. This is going to be fun. We'll go around the horn. We have a lot of people here, so let's give our guests most of the air here to let them voice their thoughts, because we can talk about this anytime we want together, and then just move it along. So let's start with Jerry. What was your overall impression?
I really liked it. I watched the Whedon version on Wednesday night just so I'd be kind of aware of what was new and what wasn't, and I was kind of amazed at all the footage that was still in it, that was in the Whedon version. It was just cut differently, and it would be, to me, it felt like if someone was telling a joke that you would cut out the build up to the joke and just leave the punchline. That's the Whedon version to me. There was so much more. Really so much more story that they had in the extended version that it's kind of a shame. And I'm glad that people finally get a chance to see it, because imagine being the director, the writer, the stars, and having that presentation as it was, and having people trashing it and whatever, so it's nice, I'm sure, for them too, to finally have this, see the light of day, because it's kind of like proof that it was a decent movie. It was just kind of, poorly managed.
Yeah.
Right on.
Mitch?
Yeah, Jerry and I were talking about that because it was 2017, Jerry, not 2018. I looked it up when I got home. We met
2017.
Yeah, I was like, how long ago was this? We met the whole cast except for Ben Affleck about a week or two after the Joss Whedon movie came out, and we were talking about that because Ray Fisher was one of the nicest guys we ever met, very polite. Momoa, and the sad thing is, we're talking about the movie we saw, the Joss Whedon one, and like Jerry said, how would you like to be those guys? It's like, I have a secret. We can't tell you. And we're like, it was so great when you did this and that. And they're probably thinking, yeah, but it was so much better. And they just had to go along and nod their head and say, thank you very much. But it was just weird to see that movie last night and think back 4 years ago to the other version we saw. And I'm like, wow, it really is two movies. It's like a totally different story and everything, So I don't know, man. Must have been hard to keep that secret for all these years. I'm glad this movie got out.
Yeah, and that's thanks to fans. And actually, but before we move on, I wanted to bring something. First, hail Culture Casino for being in the chat. Our good friend, our new friend, as part of this community. Two things. First, Zack Snyder tweeted this last night, so I guess the HBOMax servers crashed at some point.
Oh wow!
This 37-minute. Oh, I don't know what it was, but yeah.
Wow.
And Wednesday night, the YouTube fandom, Uche Winera, who's part of the Geeks and Gamers team and a former NFL star player, put together a charity stream for suicide prevention, and the goal was to raise $50,000. They are at about 100,000 and climbing.
Nice.
Hey, Explorer, how are you? There was an unfortunate incident when Zach logged in. We're not going to get into on this stream, but it was a great night for everyone. Ray Porter joined, and so did Joe. I can't say his last name. Deathstroke. Manganiello.
Oh, Manganiello.
Manganiello.
Yeah,
Manganiello. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep calling him.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Manganiello.
He's a paisan.
He's good. He's good.
So it was a great night. There's still auction items up on eBay. Like Rydell made a bunch of football helmets with the Justice League logo on them. And
oh, nice.
There's signs. There's a Smallville varsity jacket. There's a 11x17 concept art print with all the signatures of the cast and Zack Snyder on it. So
nice.
And all that money is going to the American Society for Suicide Prevention, or American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. So it was a great cause. Bravo to the fans. Bravo to Geeks and Gamers. Great job, everybody. So moving on. I guess we'll just go around our regular panel here. Stacey, what was your impression?
It's been a while since I've seen the original. I think when it first came out, I didn't feel like I needed to go back. I just watched Batman versus Superman, the extended version, to kind of get ready for this, and I think that was a better plan. I think overall, I just felt like the things that were lacking in the first one was like the character development. Being the normie that I am, I don't have a deep well of knowledge of all these characters. So I felt like the first one really kind of just introduced him quickly, and there wasn't much to it. Where this one, definitely, I felt like there was more backstory to kind of get you to understand the characters. Also, the CGI was a million times better in this version. The first version, it felt like I was watching a video game with cheesy graphics. Whenever they had the CGI, Steppenwolf looked just terrible. It was so a million times better, this version. And just overall, I just felt like it was a whole story. It made sense. It didn't feel like 4 hours. Seeing it on the big screen, it was just, I thought, well done overall.
Edson?
I completely agree with Stacey in terms of the effects. Oh my gosh. I mean, this one looked really, really good. In a way, I wish I had been like Jude, where I wish I had never seen the first one, because it kind of just, sometimes that scene was in the first one, and it's kind of like now it's in its proper place, and it's like I wish I could undo the memory of it. It didn't seem, for a 4-hour movie, it was like it felt like not a lot of scenes needed to. It looked like all the scenes needed to be there pretty much. I mean, there was a couple of extras that didn't need to be, but it just felt like a really complete movie, despite the fact that it was so long. And it didn't seem like it was like dragging at all, which is a great sign. And I felt horrible that I couldn't see it in a theatrical setting, because I can only imagine how much better it would have been. But it was, and the sound was awesome. I mean, I can only give the perspective from the smaller screen, of course, but I can't believe that this was not the movie that they showed originally. Such a shame.
Justin Ortiz in the chat, not a fan of the movie. Sorry you had a bad experience, brother.
Oh, okay.
That's bad, but you know what? I mean, it's all subjective. What entertains one person might not work for another, and that's fine. Since you stole my bit.
I took it off.
Whatever. Just say whatever you want.
I took it off. Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm Batman, and so am I. No. Yeah, we were all very horrified that you weren't there as well, Edson. We missed you.
We missed you.
Thank you.
I have to say, I saw the first one a long time ago. I'm with Stacy. It's been a while. The only thing, Stacy, that I could remember from the first one was that's the scene when Superman comes back and he's all pissed off and upset. And he's
That's one of the ones I
yelling.
remember the most too. Yeah.
And then a little bit of that end fight scene with Steppenwolf and Darkseid and all that. But the rest of the movie, I was like, for me, watching the characters sort of go through the process of where they are to where they're going to be. Every time I see a superhero movie, I come away thinking, what? There's got to be more. It can't just all be, kicking ass and having heroic moments. The Super Friends, to me, Keith and I were talking last night. To me, the Super Friends were always a little on the corny side.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
this sort of a thing.
A little.
Yeah. Well, except for Batman. Batman's never corny, and I think that they stayed sort of true to that. But it was fantastic. I loved it, every moment of it. It didn't feel like 4 hours. I echo Stacy and everyone else's comments about that, and it just was fun. And the other thing I wanted to point out was the music. To me, the use of sort of the variety of different sorts of textures of sound and song that they use. It took me a while at the end, even over the credits with the Hallelujah. I didn't quite get it because it was so well done. I never heard that version, that composition. I loved it.
Cool. I think it's your turn, Jude.
Oh,
Yeah, go ahead, Jude. I'm here. I'm doing
Well,
something. I want people to
Again,
see.
I didn't see the first cut, so I have nothing to compare it to. But I really, 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 really enjoyed it. And for a 4-hour movie, I did not feel like it was slow or dragged. And I think maybe when Superman came back, it kind of slowed down. But I think they had to do that because he had to kind of figure himself out. So I didn't really mind that as much.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I like the fact that all the characters got good screen time because I heard like Cyborg got cut tremendously in the first cut, and I really liked this backstory with his dad, which I love.
Yeah.
I think that dynamic with his dad and him, and kind of them going back and forth through the movie was great. I love that. I wasn't a big fan of Barry Allen at all. The Flash, I just
Agree.
for some odd reason, I just felt like his humor was just too awkward, and it wasn't it wasn't clever, So that kind of. I don't know. I kind of had a hard time with his character through the movie. I loved Ben Affleck's Batman. I loved Aquaman. Of course, Wonder Woman was great. She was badass. She was just cutthroat in this movie, especially at the end when she lops off the head. That was a great scene.
That was a
As
great
she lops
scene.
off his head, he goes through the portal and everything just kind of falls in, and then Darkseid steps on his head. It was great. I mean, for 4 hours, there's so much to talk about, but I really, really enjoyed it. And I don't know. I had a little bit of problem with the music, Alan. I really did.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just felt like sometimes the music wasn't punchy enough, especially when characters were revealed. And I know when Superman's character was revealed and he flies up into the atmosphere, he's kind of doing this to the sun. I really wanted to hear John Williams' score. So
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I even hummed it. I went, doo, 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 doo.
I thought somebody was doing that. I'm like, who's singing?
If that came in, I would have lost it. I would have started crying.
Wow.
Maybe there were limitations with what he could and couldn't do in his cut.
I think Zach knew you were going to cry, and that's why he didn't do it. Pete, what do you
Tears.
think?
Wow, what is left to be said? My comment last night, I said it then and I'll say it now. That's more like it. It didn't feel like 4 hours. It definitely all the characters had their time to shine. It needed to be 4 hours. Because if you took that much and just shoved it into a 2-hour time slot, it definitely wouldn't have worked, as we saw last time.
You got that other thing, right?
Yeah, we got that other thing. Yeah, it needed to be 4 hours. It needed to be 2 movies. Needed to be this long. Yeah. And I think I agree with you, Mr. Batman, Alan, about the music. This score felt much punchier, and I don't just mean punchier, but yeah, it's. I'm also not a big fan of Danny Elfman to begin with, so it was nice not having his fingerprint on it. But really, you guys have covered most of the most of it. I think I'm glad every character got their chance to shine. I'm glad that we got to see more Cyborg. He definitely grew on me as the movie went, because there is the baggage of everything that was going on since the movie came out. Like, oh god, here's more Cyborg. Oh, he's Iron Man, isn't he? Oh, yeah. Okay. No, this isn't so bad. But yeah, no, I loved it, and I can't wait to see it again. Although, unfortunately, it's not going to be in a theater.
No. So yeah, much like Pete, I don't have much to add to that. It felt epic to me.
Totally.
For nothing to do with the film itself, but it showed a couple of things that clearly that Zack Snyder had a vision from the start, going all the way back to Man of Steel, and it was going to be a slow burn, and that's clearly what Warner Brothers panicked and lost faith in. I don't think they wanted to ride this whole thing out, because you can see now, like, where as each film gets bigger than the last, and culminating with this. And you're right, this was essentially 2 movies put together. It was supposed to be Justice League Part 1 and Part 2, and then they wanted to merge it into one.
Indeed, but they were Warner Brothers was playing catch up to Marvel, so they didn't want to do the slow burn with every individual character. They hadn't, when the original one came out, the Aquaman hadn't come out. Yeah.
Right. But
you're absolutely right.
What it showed to me more than anything, we talked about this on the ride home too, Pete, was that suits and ties really don't get it, and they don't have much creative ability or the ability to what's the word I'm trying to pre-visualize anything, because how can you read the script for this movie or look at the outline for this movie or see rough cuts of this movie and say, you know what, let's do this instead. And to me that kind of shows what filmmakers are up against constantly.
I was gonna,
they're worried about the bottom line first, so I'm sorry, Jerry.
No, I was gonna say, Mitch and I were talking about this on the way home too, is the idea that I think studios supply money to directors and creators to make movies, but they still have the final say. And Warner Brothers basically kind of rushed Zack Snyder to come up with a plan, which he came up with a plan and a timeline. And then when the 2 Batman and Superman and Suicide Squad came out and they still made tons of money, but they got a lot of negative kind of trolling on Rotten Tomatoes and places like that. They think that they made the mistake of listening to the negatives rather than the fact that probably millions a lot of people saw the movie, liked it, but aren't people who are going to post online. In other words, if you like something, not everybody is like that. When we used to have a letter page in the comic books, we would get letters, and if you had like 5% negative letters, we all read them, but you didn't necessarily print all the negative letters. You would print some, because people, even back then, people were, just throwing out crap. So it's like you basically starve them of attention, So you wouldn't put all like sweet letters and all that. You try to create a letter column or an opinion thing that reflected the book, but it wasn't disrespectful. And that's the problem now, is that I think people just decide this guy's the enemy, or this is bad and this is good. And honestly, you should like what you want to like. If you didn't like the Snyder movies, that's fine. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. But I think that the studios wound up like placing a lot of emphasis, or they listen too much to the, the social media, because that's probably now how they feel like they maintain some sort of sense of what people want. But again, not everybody complains, And
I agree with you. And I think there's a pretty across the board thought that we're the Gen Xers, we're aging out of this. It's time to go after the younger fans. And where do the younger fans pop? Where are they? They're on the social media.
Yeah.
But they're playing the video games.
We're still the ones with the money.
Yeah.
We're still the ones.
As the parent of 2 younger fans who have no interest in watching this movie at all, I don't know what's going to get them. I mean, my kids grew up in this. You can't not. Hello, their college tuition was paid for the last like 8 years through my comic book convention, so they get it. And there's stuff all around here if you haven't figured it out. But I came home and they said, "How was the movie?" I said, "Oh, it was really good. I like it a lot. You're gonna watch it?" Because we have HBO Max. And my younger son Owen, who's 21, he said, "No, I'm not watching that." I was like, "What?" He's like,
Wow.
"I'm not sitting through 4 hours of that."
4
When
hours,
does-
yeah.
It does
he goes,
sound- yeah.
when does it get good? I said, "Well, the end battle's good." All right, let's fast forward to the end and watch that. It's like you're dealing with. I mean, you got to be a total jackass if you think you're going to get an average teenager who has the attention span of a gnat to sit down for 4 hours and not move. They can't, dude. They watch movies on their goddamn phones. They're not watching. They don't. As much as we love seeing it in the theater, my kids could give a rat's ass about watching a movie in a big IMAX theater. They don't give a crap. They want to watch it here when they do it, and they're, like this as they're playing a video game. It doesn't mean anything to watch it on an IMAX screen. It's like, wait, you want me to sit still in one spot for 4 hours? Are you insane? What drugs are you on? What am I, sedated? No, I'm not going to. So it's really a struggle for these executives to come up with a movie that's going to get a serious, director, a serious vision to be accepted by a younger generation. I mean, I don't think this would have done well if they released this in the theater as a 3-hour cut. Maybe. No way in hell would this have made money at a 4-hour cut.
Oh, absolutely not.
You could not have scheduled enough showings in a theater for the movie theater to make their money. That's not going to happen.
It would have to remain 2 different films. It would have to come.
It would have had it. Yeah, definitely. You never would have got this out. Maybe 3 hours and 10 minutes max.
Yeah.
If you cut out some of the video montages of Aquaman walking slow and throwing glass in the ocean, I go, "Hey, jackass!"
Yeah, right.
Kids are gonna cut their feet on that. Okay, as a guy who has kids.
And where'd he get all the shirts that he ripped off?
And I would have cut out some of the Aquaman cult that was smelling his shirt. That must smell like tuna fish.
Yeah.
I mean, I got it. They worship him as a god. I don't need to hear the acapella group.
Okay. That's fair.
This girl huffing his sweater. I'm like, dude,
I don't know. I might huff his sweater.
Yeah, my wife would too. Because I told her today, I said they had slow motion Jason Momoa.
That they need to keep in.
Really?
But the other part they could keep
I was like, I'm cutting that out. She goes, "No, you're not."
That and the Flash scene where he saves Iris, where he grabs the
I like that.
And I think the creepy part is when he starts like playing with her hair.
Oh yeah, and then
that was a little creepy.
When the hot dog fell on the screen, I was thinking, well, that's a little phallic-y.
That scene did not need to be there.
Right.
Yeah. Try to make.
I can't believe they cut out the part where Henry Allen just ripped his shirt open and pushes his nipple against the glass and said, "Touch me." I thought that would have made the movie. I thought it would have made, because everything's so goddamn serious in this thing. You need a lighthearted moment, and that would have been the Will Ferrell lighthearted moment.
Well, I think that's why they turned him into like a plucky Peter Parker type.
And I know he's annoying, but I think that his levity was probably. I felt I liked it. Like
I didn't mind. You need to lighten up a little bit here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 4 hours of seriousness would have just been.
When you're digging up dead bodies, you need a chuckle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, that just goes.
My problem wasn't that we couldn't have comedy or anything like. It's just that I know the Barry Allen of the comics so well that it's totally and this guy's totally different. I mean, completely different.
Yeah.
So
maybe we could Wally West. That would have been different.
Yeah, I'm a big Flash guy, and it just bothers me so much that it's not even close. But
I get you.
At least they got rid of a lot of the Whedon jokes.
Oh yeah.
It started with a couple scenes where it was like, oh no, that's gonna be 3 hours of this. But then it settled down, and he was actually, and I remember in the Whedon cut, if I remember properly, he was more of a coward. He was afraid.
Yeah, he did.
Right.
Yeah. So let's talk about what everybody really liked, or one moment or a character or something like that, and then we'll actually talk about what we kind of would have changed or didn't like. So Jerry, since you're the most familiar with the source material than any of us.
Well, I was telling Mitch that I thought, to me, the buildup of having the return of Superman in the Whedon version felt very flat. Like when he returns, even though they had the John Williams theme involved in it, they didn't use it well, I didn't think, and they didn't do a good hero introduction after him being gone. I kind of preferred the way they did it in here with him, the scene with the fortress and the costume, and then, with Alfred. So he's coming back. It's not like you're, oh, what happened to him? But when he does show up, it's like the great, I guess, like a good movie TV type thing where you have the heroes desperately needing him to show up, and then he shows up and it's dynamite. I felt like they kind of blew that to a degree in the previous version, just through the pacing and the editing and stuff. So that was my favorite moment, when he does show up, and that whole battle with the three mother boxes merging, and Cyborg and everything. I was just so tense during the whole 25-minute sequence, that when he showed when Superman finally showed up, it was like, yeah, kick his butt. So that felt really good. That felt like the buildup that I sat through the whole movie for, and that would probably be my favorite moment, is really Superman returning and being Superman. I mean, you showed why he needed to be there, and why him being off the page, being dead or whatever, is what allowed this whole thing to kind of happen. So that was my favorite moment, really.
Yeah, and it was interesting because he was used very sparingly. He was very reserved. Like, as you said in the other movie, the whole second act and third act is full of Superman. So you're right, because it made that payoff so much better.
I mean, they could have done like the John Williams, if you were even in that other version, if they had done the John Williams music and started with the boom 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 boom, that actual, and then da-na-na-na, they could have just made us happier to see that, just through you got that score. We're making do with something that's not exactly what Snyder intended, but it still could have been a good moment, and it just was flat.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. That's why that would have added so much spice to it, especially the scene.
Mitch.
The Green Lantern showing up for 3 seconds was my favorite part of the whole movie. I actually had chills. I was like, yeah, it's a Green Lantern. And then he got killed. But I get it, though, because we talked about that. I said, you can't have a Green Lantern Corps guy there, because you're like, well, why do we need these guys? There's 1,000 Green Lanterns that could come and save the day. So, but that was really well done, that whole backstory. And I was going to say the whole end battle had more of a threat to it than the first movie. Well, you see, that's the problem. You keep saying, you really shouldn't keep comparing it to the Joss Whedon, because I was telling Jerry, it's like the movie MASH. There's the Robert Altman movie MASH, and then there's the half-hour comedy TV show that everybody knows. They're both the same characters, Hawkeye, Trapper, Hot Lips, but they're two different things. You know what I mean? They're both Superman, Batman. They're both fighting guys. But it's not really the same story. So you can't keep saying, well, this is better than that, because, given 4 hours, even the worst movie could be made to be better. But
or worse.
I think, or worse.
Yeah.
Or worse.
Which I was worried about going into Jerry. I said, what's worse than root canal? 2 root canals. And all I kept thinking is, I'm going into this movie, and when they said, oh, it's extended cut, and I'm like, we were talking like, where do you think all the extra footage? How much extra footage is there? Because we've seen all these director's cuts where they add about 5 minutes of footage, and you're like, really? I had to pay that money to sit there?
Right.
And then when they showed the horse and Bruce Wayne riding on the horse really slow, I go, oh God, it's just going to be various longer takes of the same stuff we already saw. It's like, let me just walk over to here and get that Batman, and it's 20 minutes as opposed to 30 seconds. But no, I just think that the like Jerry said, the end battle meant more than it built up to something. You know what I mean? It's like, where are we going with this movie? And then Apocalypse watching through the portal, as everything's blowing up in front of them. That was fantastic, because they were just about to invade. That's what it was like. Oh shit, they better save the day, because
the portal is open so the dark side can see Steppenwolf succeed.
Yeah.
And instead it opens and it's like, whoa.
Yeah. It all blew up in his face. Yeah. So it was pretty cool.
All right, for us, we'll go in reverse order this time. We'll start with you, Spoiler Pete. And I don't know what happened to Alan. He just vanished.
He's Batman.
He's Batman. Yeah, he got
It's like Commissioner
he's got
Gordon.
better things to do at the moment. Like,
Where did he go?
That's
How
rude.
rude.
that's rude. Yeah, exactly.
He was a fan of the Josh Whedon movie and said, "Screw you, people."
John Amenta, welcome, my friend. So go ahead, Pete.
Well, I gotta say, Jerry and Mitch basically took the words right out of my mouth.
We're
It was
professionals.
that last battle was much more tense, and obviously, yes, he's coming back. He's going to be a last minute save, but much like watching Doc Brown on the train in Back to the Future 3, like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? It felt much more tense, and it felt much more like there were real stakes, and that they had a chance to lose, and well, they did, thanks to time travel. They got out of it, but having Superman come back in, there was much more of a build up, much more satisfying.
Yeah, you knew he was coming, like you said, Pete, but you're like, when? I kept sitting there going, okay, when the hell is Superman going to show up? When is he going to show up? Like, it was getting worse and worse for them, and you're like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, okay, well, no, they really could use him now, but no, he's up sunbathing. They sure could use him now. Well, he's talking to Alfred. Like, come on, what are you doing?
There's a cat in a tree.
Well, yeah, you got to take care of that.
I even asked Jerry. I go, why did he stop by Alfred to check him out? Jerry goes, well, he had to go find out where the battle was. I go, dude, Superman. He doesn't need to go, hey, which way should I go? Well, let me use my super hearing, and I can tell you where they're screaming my name right now.
Take a left at Ukraine. Take a right at Russia.
He flew all the way up into space and did that Jesus pose. And then I'm like, well, just look down. See where the big thing's blowing up? That's where you need to go. Right.
Yeah,
now.
right.
He was recharging. He was recharging.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I figured. He's gathering up the sun. Yeah,
That's exactly
That's what
what
the
it
black
was.
costume.
Yeah,
the black
yeah,
costume
exactly.
was for.
Yeah.
He wanted that latte with the
It
little
soaks up the heat
leaf
more,
on
yeah.
top. Alfred made. He heard the tea was really good.
And it was refreshing that they didn't have that one family that stayed in that.
Oh God,
Yes,
yeah.
the
Oh
outskirts.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that was
The
so unnecessary.
The people that refuse to move. We're not
Yeah.
leaving.
Right.
I don't care if there's aliens. We bought this land.
Yeah, there's toxic, there's
Your
nuclear.
granddaddy built this farm. Okay.
Judah Buddha. What do you really like?
I don't know. I like the whole movie, to be honest with you. I really, really didn't think there was a hiccup. I mean, besides some of the, like I said, Barry Allen's character, I didn't really like it as much, but I don't know. I liked everything.
Yeah,
but
you needed Barry Allen because you wouldn't have that movie because he
I think
saved the
so,
whole
too.
day.
That's true. That's
He
true.
was the little guy off to the side you don't think about. But if it wasn't for him going back through time,
They would have been.
they're dead.
screens.
Yeah.
And I think that's great because it's a great point because each character had their own role to play. There wasn't one weak really character. They all really had to come together at the end to save the planet. And
Even Batman, without any powers, had stuff to do. Because I was telling that to Jerry, like, do they need that guy? He's like, yeah. They need Batman. He had to take the tower down so they can go into the Death Star and blow it up. Oh, that's Star Wars. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You worry about the fighters. I'll worry about
Exactly. You needed Han to blow up the Endor bunker so Orlando could blow up the thing,
Now, in the Whedon cut, was there wasted characters, or did they all come together the same way, or did Snyder flesh it out better?
They came
Snyder.
together.
Oh, Snyder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cyborg
I mean,
made no
they did
sense.
the same
in
way.
that one.
It didn't. Yeah.
So it was the same.
They were all like thumbnail, versions of the characters. They really didn't need all the context that they added. I mean, especially as you're saying, the Flash. I think the scene of him saving Iris was important, even though there was he was a creepy guy or like a slightly off guy, which was fun. But what was interesting was it showed you that he knew how to use his powers.
Oh,
it wasn't
yeah.
like, he's not, just because he hasn't fought a supervillain before doesn't mean that he doesn't know how his powers work. I mean, he was building a suit. He clearly knew.
He had all those monitors everywhere. He was
And
watching stuff.
the same, like Cyborg had, even Jason Momoa's Aquaman was involved in the fight to keep Steppenwolf from getting the second mother box. That wasn't in the Whedon one. So you don't really have his motivation as to why he might stop being the loner and actually join in. It's because he saw this happen in front of him. which seemed like an important character bit.
Right.
Yeah, it was the fact that we got to let this thing breathe a little bit definitely was a huge payoff, especially in the case of Ray Fisher's Cyborg.
Yeah.
Who was almost borderline useless in the first movie.
Right.
There.
Yeah.
And he played such an important role in this. And Ray actually, his performance came through.
Yeah.
He seemed a little wooden in the other version.
Yeah.
Right.
But we have to also talk about Batfleck. I mean, really, I think.
But we have to hear from Edson and Stacy.
Yep.
Go ahead, Edson.
So I agree with that the final battle was so much better, but to me, the tension also escalated a lot in the whole decision and process of bringing Superman back. Even up to the point where they brought him back, there was still a lot of like, are we really going to do this? We're bringing dead people back, and it's like, and then there's the thought that you're opening a mother box and you're pretty much giving it away that we're here, so we're going to skip right to the end game as soon as we do this. And it's like then you saw Batman's, like, as usual, decisiveness is like, once the decision is made, he's like, just do it. It's like, and I don't think it would have even happened if he just wasn't like that, like kind of putting them all together and just go ahead and do it. Because even up until when Cyborg was like, and the Flash was coming in, there was still kind of like indecisive about the whole thing. And Wonder Woman was clearly kind of, I think she was against it as well. But, and that whole process of him coming back was like, I was really like, well, what, I kind of like made myself forget about him coming back, and it was all new again to me. And I kind of like that.
I like how they all decided, like at the 11th hour, they were kind of like, you know what, we shouldn't do this. Let's just no. Everybody wanted to go to court, but Batman was resolute, and he's like, no, because he knew. I mean, he's he's the world's greatest detective for a reason. He knows that if this doesn't happen, they've got no shot. He didn't want them. He didn't want them to know that, because he doesn't want to cast doubt in their heads. But he knows without Superman, they're toast.
Yeah, I love how he said, "We're not playing not to win. We're playing to win." It's like we do this. This is the only way out. It's like we're not just going to wait here until they finally come to us eventually.
And that's what I've always loved about the Batman character too. I mean, he stands by his convictions. He does not budge. He doesn't.
Well, he's got money. Most rich people are like that.
That's a good point.
They don't care what you think.
That's a good.
Yeah, but he's usually right though.
Yeah.
That's the good thing.
Yeah, we've seen supposed rich people in power, and they're kind of jackasses.
Right.
That's true.
Stacy, what did you really like?
Again, it's just such a big question. I liked watching one of those fly alien guys splat at the bottom of that tower area. That was pretty awesome. Like that was pretty excellent. And I have to say that this, although I'm a little confused, and you guys know more stuff, and you could probably explain to me, but the multiverse kind of scene, the possibility of all of that was interesting, and it kind of like, for me, like being someone again not enmeshed in all this stuff, I watching Superman and Lois and seeing how the multiverse was working in that, and I'm like, the whole Superman being bad guy, like all the stuff possibility is interesting to me. I thought that was kind of
I actually wanted to leave the epilogue to something separate, because that was all reshoots. The main movie was what Zack Snyder shot and had.
Okay.
The epilogue was all reshoots. You can actually kind of tell because Ben Affleck's like 25 pounds.
Yeah, that's what Ordway and I caught that. I said he's a lot skinnier at that.
Yeah.
You could tell the reshoots in the original because he was 25 pounds heavier.
Yeah. He had the booze bloat going on.
Yeah.
Although I have to say that the final scene where he's getting out of bed right after that happens, for me, like, he seemed the most Bruce Wayne in that moment when he spoke to the character. I won't say in case of that.
We're deep into spoiler territory now.
But seeing that interaction, for me, he felt the most Bruce Wayne I've seen Ben Affleck be in the two movies.
All right.
Very vulnerable. He was very vulnerable.
There was something about. Yeah.
Keith, I got a question, because I've been trying to figure this out, and I did a review already. I wrote it up, and I was talking to Jerry, and you guys all watched the movie too. when Lois, how long? Okay, here's two questions. How long was it that Superman died to win this movie?
That's a good question. I wonder that.
Yeah,
too.
because
like a month.
No, I thought at one point they said, "Oh, the mother boxes didn't start acting up until Superman died like a year ago." And I go, "Wait, it's been a year? Is that what he just said?" No, it's not a year.
Did they say a year?
Because here's why I was confused. When Lois reaches over to her nightstand and there's a early pregnancy test in her top drawer, and then she just picks it up and walks into the bathroom, and they don't pick up on that. And then at the very end, when Clark is with Bruce Wayne, he goes, "Oh, by the way, congratulations." I'm thinking, is she pregnant?
That's why I thought it was like only like a month.
Yeah, so it couldn't have been a year.
Well, I don't know how long it was supposed to be, because I'm like,
good question. I mean, the film opens
and
with
statue's still broken up. They
didn't fix anything
that yet. So
right.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Was it
a
month?
I just thought of. Wait, Mitch. I just thought of something.
What?
She was staying away from the planet, and they made a comment of that. Remember, like when Ma Kent visits.
Yeah, she has
says,
been there for a while.
So what if she had a baby and didn't? I mean, we're speculating. As long as you're speculating about this thing, the beginning of the movie, right? That's when you saw the pregnancy test. So there's a time span from the beginning.
It wasn't in the beginning of the movie. It was after Ma Kent visitor.
Yeah.
Okay, but there was clearly a lot of story that happens between that point. But what if she had, no, I guess she wouldn't have had a baby. I was just thinking like her being staying away from work because she's pregnant.
They did
want anybody to see it.
And then
the timing doesn't work.
And then Officer Jerry, played by Mark McClure, who's Jimmy Olsen in the Superman movies. If you didn't catch that, he says, "Oh, here again, Miss Lane," or "You never miss a day," or something. And she goes,
"Or what happened to you last week," or something.
Yeah, and I'm like, "Well, how many days has she been showing up there?"
And she hasn't been to work since he's died. So how long
I think
Martha
timestamped it, didn't she?
I guess we'll need to watch it again.
No, here it is. His gravestone actually had grass grown on it. There's no date. So I mean, they didn't just bury him a week ago because
I wondered that too. I'm like,
Martha says Mr. White says you haven't been to work, and she either said 3 weeks or 3 months, didn't she?
Yeah,
since he died.
Since he died, yeah. I don't know. I'll have to rewatch.
Yeah, we'll have to rewatch because there was definitely time mentioned, and I just don't remember there were different ones. But you're right. I think the one thing was since Superman died is what all the
trigger the mother boxes. Yeah,
it's movie time. So when you're watching a movie,
plus Bruce Wayne built that giant transport ship. That army
something
thing. So he had to know that there was an army or invasion coming, but he only learned that in Batman versus Superman. So did he just throw that thing together in a week? So
probably. He's rich.
He's rich, yeah.
Superpower.
No, and then he went looking for Aquaman. I mean, it must have taken him a while to ride that horse out into the snow.
Well, they used a time stamp there too, though. They said that the weather was bad for the last week, so no helicopter or something.
No, he said there hasn't. Aquaman says there hasn't been any boats through here in 4 months now because of the harbor.
Somebody else said that they covered the fact that why he went on horseback was because the weather wouldn't allow a helicopter or a plane to land.
It's a Krypton baby.
It could, I guess.
Maybe.
Maybe. But she's a human, so she
gets a tan to hit through her stomach.
Chest burster.
Oh God, I hope it isn't.
I can't think of anything that really stuck out.
I don't know. That just was like, what's up with that?
Dark Side is what I really liked. I liked that we had Assad. I liked that we had Dark Side. It was just Steppenwolf.
Granny Goodness.
Granny Goodness. She was in the background.
Yep.
Assad.
Oh, is that the big lady?
With the white hair in the back. Yeah.
Okay. She's a giant.
Played by Ed Asner in the cartoon.
Ed Asner. I was thinking it didn't look like Ed Asner at all.
It raised the stakes. It clearly raised the stakes. I liked how they did the boom tubes. They looked a little bit.
Yeah, they look cool.
They look good.
In and out.
And they made a sound too. They did boom.
They did boom. They did. And I like that we got Martian Manhunter.
Yes.
We had a little world building in here, and I expect that there's more to come.
Also, the Atom.
Well, they mentioned that fellow's name,
Brian
the doctor.
Choi.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Brian Choi was he became the Atom, and
he had at the end of Star Labs, he says, "Oh, you're now in charge." And he says
Yeah.
his name.
What's his significance? Who is he? Like in
He's the
comic?
Atom.
The Atom.
The Atom.
Little guy.
He's a
Because he was
guy
in
who can
charge
shrink down.
specifically of nanotechnologies.
Yeah,
Oh.
right. He shrinks down.
Oh, cool.
I thought the woman that Cyborg helped out with that money meant something, because I was asking Jerry, was she a character? Because her name, they kept showing it, and he just like gave her $100,000, which was cool.
Yeah.
I just saw that as it was showing what a good person he is.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I was like,
His empathy.
Yeah, his empathy, and despite what happened to him, he still wanted to do what's right. I really liked all that. But yeah, why don't we dive into the epilogue a little bit, since that was the new material that Zack shot a lot of it.
And a very different Joker. Leto Joker.
It's basically Nightmare, and
well, Jerry knows something about that Joker that nobody else knows, because he always throws this up there. Tell him the secret origin of that Joker, Jer.
When Batman versus Superman came out, I went down that little deep hole of reading all the fan theories, and then I'd heard that Snyder had originally had a plan, and it may or may not have showed up in the Ben Affleck movie, the Batman movie that he was going to do. Was that when they go through the Batcave, there's one of the either a Robin or Nightwing costume, and it has, like graffiti from the Joker on it.
Yep.
And the idea was planted there that this wasn't like the Heath Ledger Joker existed, and they weren't replacing him. This was a new Joker. That's why he was younger, and that was either Robin or Nightwing or whatever. It was one of his wards.
Yeah.
In other words, like had been probably the same thing that they did in the comics, where they had the Jason Todd killed by the Joker, but he wasn't dead and he came back. I mean, it was that idea. So I saw when he did the epilogue or his dream sequence, I knew it felt like he was trying to at least put a cap on the idea that he'd introduced way back when, because he didn't think anybody else would follow through or whatever. So I liked that. I thought that was kind of interesting. The idea that, especially because the title of that, wasn't there like a title in there, something about two fathers or something?
Yeah. That last sequence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was just interesting. So there were ideas that I think he was trying to just,
because he said the Joker says to him, he's like, "Oh, some people sacrifice their mothers and their fathers and their son," and then the two of them started going at it right there.
And then you send in a child to do a man's work.
Right.
Was
That's
other
what he
line.
said. Yeah. So there could be more.
I mean, Batman was very haunted in the whole all of the Snyder movies he was in, and it makes sense that if he had the burden of having sent in one of his sidekicks and the kid was killed or turned somehow, would be like a huge burden on him, and that maybe add to his being paranoid and being an isolationist and all that stuff. So I thought that it was fun. I actually thought the movie could have ended at the end of the big battle, because it was definitely that high. But I saw he did this basically as kind of, here's your reward for watching the HBOMax.
It's a little disappointing though, I think, because there's so much promise and potential for Superman, this Superman in the future, and this Batman in the future. But now there's going to be a different Batman, and there's going to be a different Superman in the next
you're never going to get
movie.
this.
It's like kind of like, oh man, we're not going to find out what happens next.
I would not go down. I would never say never on this.
Yeah,
because we were never supposed to see this, and it happened. And
I don't know if Zack Snyder would want to go back to this. He did 10 years of his life working on this. There might be parts like, dude, let me do something different.
I think that epilogue is lobbying for more, to be honest with you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
I think so too.
I mean, even with the Lex scene on the boat, that was huge open for
Deathstroke.
With Deathstroke.
And
that was rumored. Yeah.
But that played so much better here again than what they used virtually the same thing in the 2017 version, but it played so much better here. And it would have been, if that had come out like that in 2017, that would have been pretty huge, because Lex Luthor basically pays Deathstroke with the name of Secret Identity.
Right.
That was kind of cool.
It was, and I think the Batman, the Batfleck solo movie was going to be
yes, him teaming up with Deathstroke.
or Deathstroke.
Yeah.
No, matching wits. He'd always be
really?
ahead of Bruce Wayne because he knew who he was.
Yeah,
Right.
It was supposed to be Deathstroke taking apart his life piece by piece.
Yeah.
Now he knows identity, and he was going to attack all the people he likes or he loves in his family, and then eventually go after him.
Yeah.
What's his beef with Batman?
He's a merc.
No, but
Well,
he
they
said he
made
didn't
some-
want to take
they
any
talked
money
about
for it
the
because it was
eye.
personal. Remember?
Yeah, he's an eye
He
for
took
an eye.
his eye. He took his eye.
I thought Wade Wilson was a rich guy too, wasn't he?
Slade.
Well, he was.
Slade Wilson's.
Because of all his
Deadpool,
commissions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I my favorite part of the epilogue scene in the nightmare part with the Joker was when Batman looks him dead in the eye and says, "I am going to fucking
kill you." Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just shaking.
And the Joker gets scared.
Yeah.
And realizes, oh my God.
Yeah, I pushed.
He went too far.
Line.
Yeah.
And then Joker quickly recovers from it and laughs it off as a joke. But he clearly was affected. And I just love that moment. I thought it was really well performed.
Well,
by both of them. And
we were trying to figure out why there was an R rating for this because there was at least what two or three
Not
F-bombs?
very many. Yeah.
There was a lot of blood.
Yeah, but it was more that cartoony robot violence.
Yeah.
Blood, so I'm like, why is this rated R? I've seen worse than PG-13.
I didn't even realize it was rated R. Huh.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
it had
did you know? I was going to
Okay.
say I was reading on Wednesday in the paper. They said that Snyder had filmed that dream sequence and the epilogue. He had filmed all the actors separately.
Separate. I did see that.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I heard that
So
too.
it said Jared Leto was filmed on some movie set somewhere, and they basically borrowed the camera guy for a short time, and everything was pieced together, which is kind of cool in a way.
Yeah.
That none of them were in the same room.
yeah,
You
he
Yeah.
was going to shoot the scene between Affleck and Jared Leto in his yard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
For free, just to put it in there. And the two actors agreed to do it for free. And then Warner Brothers got wind of it and said, no, we'll just pay to do it the right way. So
We'll give you a couple bucks. Yeah. We could afford it.
Yeah.
Now, when Batman walks into that mansion that's all run down, is that the Hall of Justice?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Come on, big
Got
table,
onto that.
6 chairs.
Yep,
I
big
know.
table,
I thought that
6
was
With room
great.
for more. With room for more.
Well, you got the
But
Martian
wasn't that
Manhunter.
originally Wayne Manor though?
It was a
Different.
house
Oh.
they showed him going there. Remember he was putting flowers down
Yeah.
in the first movie? It was like an old house off to the side of where he lived. Maybe it like burned down. And he talks about how his family owned that. They were fur trappers or some kind of weird thing.
Yeah.
They were always the Waynes have always been hunters. So there was a weird backstory about it being like in the family for hundreds of years or something. So
Well, it's kind of like Tony Stark with the Avengers Tower.
Right.
His building and that kind of thing. So keep it close.
Alfred was like, I'm not cleaning that place up. Come on. Go get one of those little robot vacuum cleaners.
Get a Roomba, Master Wayne.
Yeah, get a Roomba. Yeah, you got all this technology. Build something to clean this place. You
Cyborg.
pig.
Have Cyborg build
Yeah,
something.
that'd be easy.
Could you morph into a vacuum cleaner? Just asking
Get the
for a
Flash.
friend.
Get the Flash.
There
to
you
do
go.
this
Oh, right.
There you go.
The Swiffer. You're
Oh, the
missing
Flash
out.
could do that.
Yeah,
Exactly. Well,
Swiffer.
you know what bugs me though? The Flash can go back in time. They kind of shoot themselves in the foot. Whenever you do time travel, don't do time travel. Because I'm like, wait, if it's so important to you, why didn't you go back in time to show that your dad didn't kill your mom or save your
But
mom?
that's-
Even better.
That's what
Can you go
That's
that
Flashpoint.
far
another
back,
but
though?
that's another
That's what-
movie.
That's what
Flashpoint.
Flashpoint is.
I
Flashpoint.
know.
Yeah.
Flashpoint
Yeah.
was
I know.
that in the comics. So that's
Yeah, I know.
I think they set it up.
And that will be
It
the
sets
Flash
up
movie.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The verified it will be the Flashpoint, which we get
Yeah.
Michael Keaton back.
But HBO Max only has like 37 million subscribers right now. So you're hoping they all watch this and then go to the Flash movie to know what the hell's happening.
Yeah.
Well, if they crash the servers, if they crash the
Yeah.
servers
That's
yesterday,
kind of
that's
good.
a pretty good
Well,
sign.
they probably
Mhm.
have AT&T as their internet provider and they suck. So
Exactly.
that's what happened.
That's it.
That's why we switched to Spectrum. You know, that's how bad is that? It's a terrible ad for your company. Yeah, don't use our internet. It crashed.
So I think it's pretty universal that we liked a lot of this. What were some of the things you might want to change or do differently, or you just flat out did not like? We'll always start with you, Jerry, since you wrote this stuff and drew this stuff.
honestly, I didn't feel like I understood the presentation. The presentation was HBO Max wanted to fill out 4 hours, so it wasn't like he was initially ever going to make a 4-hour movie, because that's not reasonable anyway. So I feel kind of like whatever extra stuff that may have been easily cut was still a bonus for us to see. So I don't really feel like that, it's not like it hurt anything. All of it seemed to help it. Yeah, maybe a couple of slow motion things, or like the Aquaman saving the guy on the boat could have maybe gone. But that wouldn't have added a lot of, that wouldn't have cut a lot of time if you were trying to make a 3-hour movie or something. So I didn't have any problem with the extra stuff, really, honest. I think it all felt right for the presentation. And especially if they had, the original plan was to do it in episodic parts, so that you'd go on and you'd watch like a 5 or 6 part TV show, or whatever, that type of thing. So
right. Which we should note, the movie is, if you haven't seen it, it's chapterized.
Yes.
Yeah. And the chapters, the chapters were the only, to me, it felt like the movie went by really fast, but the chapters themselves kept reminding me, oh, are we at an hour? Or are we at 2 hours?
Right.
They weren't like hour long, but it was almost like a time marker while you're watching it to remind you that this was longer than a regular movie. Without that, I think it would have felt short. It would have just felt like it blew by,
Right.
I think the intermission helped too, that we took a break.
Definitely.
Just to leave and come back and be excited to watch more.
Well, back in the old
drink
days,
beer.
Oh,
I was gonna say, my kidneys appreciated that.
Yeah, so like Lawrence of
We stuck a beer
Arabia,
in.
those kind of movies all had intermissions built in. And actually, I went to the 70mm screening of The Hateful Eight when that came out, and that had an intermission built into it.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So
which one?
The Hateful Eight.
Which Tarantino?
Tarantino. No, the snow picture with Kurt Russell and they're on the.
Well, there was an intermission in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood too.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, we saw that.
Not mine.
I thought there was one in. What was that one we saw with the Nolan? The
1917.
No, the other one. No, with the ships. Remember all the civilian boats coming?
Interstellar.
No. The World War I movie where they save everybody. They come across.
Dunkirk.
Right.
Dunkirk. Yeah, I thought there was one in Dunkirk.
There was. I think there was.
Because
it wasn't like a long movie. But yeah.
No, but like maybe a minute or two just to take a break.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they did the reissue I think in the 80s, they did a theatrical reissue of Lawrence of Arabia, and that had like a 10-minute pee break, basically.
Yeah,
with the
right
music
stuff.
continuing.
I remember seeing The Right Stuff back in the 80s, and that had a break in it too.
Also,
I mean, it's not a bad idea.
No,
I mean, it's not a bad idea because the theater can sell more popcorn or whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And they're probably making up for the fact that it's a long movie that they're not getting as many showings.
Yeah.
Mitch, what did you not like or want to change?
Well, there's one sequence I told Jerry in both versions of this. It always seems clunky to me, and that's the what is that? The crawler, the night crawler.
Oh,
When they're underneath Stryker Island and they're in the harbor and it has that tank thing, and they meet Steppenwolf for the first time. Both times I've watched it in 2 different movies. There's something weird about that whole sequence. Like, one, how the hell does that slow moving craft get there? Like Batman has this, and it's perfectly built to fit right in that sewer tunnel. And then what was the point of that scene? It's like, oh, that's where he's keeping the hostages, Steppenwolf is, to find out where the other mother box is because he could smell it on them. And on both times I'm like, all right, I guess. And then Aquaman shows up. He's in fresh water. He's left the seawater. He's swam up the river, and like a salmon, he's now over there. I just don't like that. I just don't like the way it's staged. And then the swords fall, and then the Flash gives it a little tip with his finger, and Wonder Woman catches again. I guess it looks nice, but it just always seems to. It's not very exciting. It's kind of just like just an exposition. Like, we have to move the story along. We have to show they're all together now, because that's where they all kind of meet. Aquaman.
Like we need an action beat at this point.
We needed somehow to bring Aquaman into the movie because why is he there? He doesn't.
It also, but it shows
how I'm here.
Yep, there you go.
It shows that they're all. It shows that all the people who were there.
No,
they still can't beat him.
That was
Even with
toyetic.
everybody, they still can't
Mhm.
beat him. They still need Superman to beat him. That's why it's
Mm.
there.
Yeah, all right.
You know what I mean?
Or to sell the Hasbro toy of
Yep.
the Nightcrawler thing.
It's all of those things.
Did
I
they
think.
make one?
They probably did. I don't know. Anyway, that's the only one that bugs me. Both times, I whenever that comes on, I could get up and go to the bathroom without an intermission. Because that sequence doesn't do anything for me but annoy me.
I will say though, the Batman's fight scenes in that, he looks awesome. Like that costume allows the stuntman to move so freely.
Yeah.
You know, and like and what I like is that Zach keeps the camera back.
Yeah.
For the fight scenes and lets you see what's going on versus like quick cuts.
Yeah, he looked like the Michelin Man when Whedon filmed it. You know,
Yeah.
I was like, oh wow, are we sure it's Batman or Fat Man? I'm not sure. 'Cause he's not moving anything. It's like, come on, get away from that. I'm late for my snack.
Yeah.
To answer your question, they did make a toy of it.
Oh, see,
Okay.
because that whole thing seemed like, why is that? Why would he make something that crawls like a spider? You know,
Well, now we want.
they did make a toy.
Nightcrawler. That's Nightcrawler.
And that whale. I said to Jerry, I think a cyborg who jumps into the Nightcrawler and plugs into it and can instantly control it is like, yeah, I think that big ship wants to fly. She wants to fly. I go, well, just fix it. You know what to do. Why you tease? I think he wanted to date it. I said, I think because that's all he kept looking at her going, yeah, she wants to go. Yeah. I'm like, what is everything going on? Something weird's happening here.
That was kind of funny because he was able to
Plug into
infiltrate any kind of
Right.
artificial intelligence in seconds.
Yeah.
But that giant helicopter thing, that
Yeah.
transport, he couldn't. He said, I need time on this one.
I know. And I told Jerry it blows up, and then it's like, well, somebody fixed the autopilot. Who? Bruce Wayne 6 months ago. I go, it's from the other movie. They stole it from the Chris Nolan movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Stacey, what did you not like or dislike or want to change?
Who? Me?
You.
Oh,
Let me see.
well, in the way that I think they developed Cyborg's character really well in this one, where it wasn't the first time, I felt like even though I could look at Jason Momoa all day, the whole Aquaman, the storyline was really weird. And I thought the characters that they introduced, like who they were, if you had never seen Aquaman, which you hadn't if you originally, when
Right.
the first Justice League came out, it was very like, who were the people at the end, like, you know, when things were better. And like, it was kind of just, I don't know, it was a waste a little bit, I think. Like, if you're going to develop it. If not, it was too, I don't know. I think it was confusing and it didn't really make a lot of sense to me.
Willem Dafoe's wig was scaring me, man.
It was weird. It was just,
Wasn't it?
it was just, yeah.
Yeah, 'cause in Aquaman, that's right. He's got the tight grease.
Yeah, he's got the
Mhm.
tight pulled back man bun thing
Man
going on there.
Yeah. So,
Edson, what about you, man?
Well, I already brought up the Flash before, but in addition to the fact that he's totally different from the comics, there's so many other things that they had in there that didn't make sense. I mean, his place is like a mini bat cave, and he's like supposedly an expert at web design and all that. So that couldn't make him. He had to bring a resume to like a kennel to get a job there. I didn't get that whole thing. It was always like didn't make any sense about him. And also, I know most people maybe, and all of you might like the whole effect of the lightning with his, but I don't like the way that was done at all. His powers using it. I like it much better with the CW when the CW did it, showing his powers that way. It's like you always have to show the lightning or every time he runs. I didn't get that much out of that.
Fair enough. Pete?
Now, I thought Cyborg was really overpowered, but then again, everybody but Batman is overpowered in the Justice League.
Mhm.
But I think what got me, the one I didn't buy, which almost took me out of the movie, was the big supercarrier crashes. They make the point of the supercarrier crashing. Alfred thinks that Bruce is dead, and then all of a sudden, magically, there it is. It's that you know, and he fixes the tape recorder just by putting his hand over it. Yeah. I can buy that he can hack into anything with a computer in it. I can totally get that, but basically wishing of something broke, an inanimate object that's broken, willing it back together.
Did he
See-
have like time reversal here? Powers or something like that?
No.
No.
If it was a digital tape recorder, I'd buy it. But in fact,
Right.
it was a real tape.
Analog.
I'm like,
Yeah,
dude,
exactly.
There's someone who used to fix those with
Right.
remember we used to fix
That's
them with a
true.
pencil when they would get eaten by the tape.
Yeah.
You can't imagine he
That
fixes
all the
it,
time.
and then all of a sudden the dad's message, I just wanted to tell you, oh, I ruined it. I can't figure out what was he gonna say. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's all
Yeah.
and he's there with a pencil trying to fix
Oh
it.
my god, that's funny.
It,
He could get the
just-
Flash to fix it. He could get
Exactly.
the Flash to fix it.
Go
for him.
back in time and
Yeah.
tell me what my dad was telling
Yeah,
me.
Yeah.
Wait,
Time
wait,
travel
wait.
is for cheap tricks.
Real quick, did you think it was forced? I told Jerry this when they were like, oh, by the way, out of nowhere, we're going to talk about this rock that has this superheated interior core that really has nothing to do with anything. Back to the story in progress. And then they go, oh, my dad knew that. That's why he marked the mother box with the laser beam and killed himself.
Yeah,
I
it
go,
did seem.
why couldn't the dad just have done the same thing but stepped outside of that
Right.
room? I was like, if you're so smart, why not do it with a remote control? Maybe there's no need to get vaporized.
He was doing it quickly, and the bad
Oh,
guy was in.
yeah.
his-
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that.
Oh, and that's where the really funny comment. He's like, "It's the hottest thing you've ever seen." That's what I said to my prom date.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, okay, there's a reason why they're drawing.
That's why they said that. Yeah.
Maybe
I
in
think
Zack Snyder likes killing superheroes' dads stupidly. You have
Yeah.
Kevin Costner. Don't save me from the tornado.
Oh, that was
Yeah. the bat gauntlets were a little
We're
bit pushing it too.
Yeah, why didn't you make your whole suit that way? Because what if they don't aim for your wrists? What if they go for
Well,
your
that's
head or your stomach?
Yeah, it's like,
He's
you know,
using
your
the
mouth
eyes.
is exposed, man.
Yeah.
You know, what happens if somebody shoots you in the mouth?
Yeah. And for some reason, Cyborg kept having this weird mouth helmet thing that would cover his
Oh,
face. And go,
yeah.
why? Why do you need that?
Mhm.
Nobody
Oh,
knows
he's-
who you
Oh
are.
yeah, does he breathe air even though? Because he's like
There's nothing left to him.
98% machine.
Yeah.
And
He's
he had,
more machine now,
Yeah, I was
than
gonna
man.
say,
Yeah.
Twisted and evil.
he had more body than Anakin Skywalker, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the thing with his dad, he's Miles Dyson. He created the Terminator.
Yes,
So,
yes. yeah.
he had to go.
But he was also in Blues Brothers 2000, and for that, he needs to die. It's a horrible movie. Joe
And
Morton.
the gauntlet thing, we were talking about that last night. Superman's hitting him with the heat vision.
Yeah,
His eyes, he could just like go crazy. And
right.
Bruce is going to keep up with that.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Did you protect your crotch, Batman? You're out.
I back real quick before we got into what Jude didn't like. I did think it was funny too. Back to the resurrection of Superman, knowing that this might not work or we might get some weird mutation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to come out of this goop, right? Why didn't Bruce bring a few kryptonite grenades along?
I thought the same thing.
Oh yeah, they weren't really thinking because also like, doesn't it make sense that we're bringing someone back from the dead? He might be a little out of sorts,
That's what I'm
Maybe
saying.
we should have, or on the opposite, that maybe they should have had Lois in on it so that she could have been that like talisman.
forget
thing.
Lois.
So, like,
Well,
they
she
bring it
was
back.
in on it. They did write that scene in the Whedon version that she was in on it. Remember, he
I
said
thought so.
Yeah.
he had
Wait,
the
okay.
secret weapon. She was the secret weapon.
Right.
No,
And I
they-
kind of like that's how they did it. She was the secret weapon, and Superman goes crazy, and then
Yeah.
Lois
Yeah.
shows up
Right.
right
Right.
before he is going to kill Bruce or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like that.
Wasn't that the Martian Manhunter scene where he visits her though, and he kind of influences her? He says something
Right.
to her.
Yeah, he
Right.
says, "Get
That
you got to
would've
get back
made
to the
more
world to
sense,
live
I
in."
think.
All they needed to do is when Superman was going nuts when he came back, Bruce Wayne shows up and screams out to the crowd, does anybody here have a mother named Martha? Real quick. I need somebody named Martha. And you, young lady, is your name Martha? Yeah, okay, come over here.
Yeah, Martha.
Look, Martha, now stop what you're doing. Oh, okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was wondering, since they did a lot of callbacks, why Bruce wouldn't even just say, save Martha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I can tell you this. You can defend your Batman versus Superman as much as you like. That is the biggest crock of
Oh, that is awful.
story.
Yeah,
And I don't care, Jerry. You can tell me how great that movie was. Martha, my mother's name's Martha. Well, actually, my mother's name is Lara. She's on the planet Krypton. So who gives a crap what your adopted mother is? Jack?
Wow.
They have the same name. No, they don't. No, they don't. No, they don't. And the Superman I knew in the 30s, his mother's name wasn't Martha, and it wasn't Jonathan either. It was like
Well, he was-
Epiziah or something.
He was
The
raised in
original
an
one.
orphanage in the 40s. He was raised in an
Oh.
Oh,
orphanage.
no kidding.
Interesting.
Yeah. So don't tell me, Martha.
How do you really feel?
Jude, what did you not really like or want to change?
I would agree with Stacy. I some of Aquaman's backstory just I don't know. It's just kind of filler, right? I mean, didn't really find it. Didn't really find it too interesting. I was like,
Yeah.
wasn't this told in another movie? Like, we don't need to know.
But there wasn't even enough for it to be. It wasn't.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's either do it or don't do it. And
Was it just a confidence boost that he had to kind of hang out at certain places and look
I
at
don't know.
tridents?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do you swim with blue jeans on? You know how nasty that would be?
Ugh,
You're gonna get a rash down there.
no
Right.
kidding.
That's super.
That's right.
Because he takes his shirt off to give it to here. I'm gonna throw it to my fans. This is you, the third row blondie with the weird eyes. Here's a sweater. Keep it.
Where'd he get all the shirts?
Yeah.
I know.
Who wants my pants? Oh, that would have been a frenzy on the beach right there. You know?
I don't know. The water's probably pretty cold around there.
Yeah, that's why he kept the pants
Like a
on.
frightened turtle? Is that what you're saying there, Normie Sue?
Shrinking. It shrinks. It shrinks, Jerry.
Yeah.
Tell her it shrinks.
I was in the ocean. I was in the ocean.
Here we are
I-
discussing the 4-hour documentary.
Yeah.
My biggest
Saved by the Bell.
my biggest gripe too is why in every
Commissioner
science fiction movie, why is it in every
Hello. Hello. Are you?
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Jeez.
Call you later.
Why, yes,
Oh,
Commissioner, this
we
is the Batman.
Yeah. To the Batcave. Also, I press a button and the wall drops away.
Oh, Amber Turd. Yeah.
And why is it in every science fiction
Amateur.
movie or hero movie there always has to be a light beaming into the sky? That's my question.
Well, those are boom tubes. Dude.
Or the bat signal.
That's
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, basically. The pillar of fire. They took it
Yeah.
from the Bible.
What did you guys think of the speed ramping? Everything just
I liked it. You mean like where they would kind of slow and then
they would slow
speed
things
up?
down and then it would speed up.
It's-
They call it speed
it
ramping,
It fits with that kind of ethic of I guess
Yeah.
the Jim Lee comic thing where the characters have to pose or they have to have their
Yeah.
cool shot
Right.
or whatever.
yeah.
It's almost like
yeah.
a freeze frame in the middle of it, or the
Yeah,
Matrix with superheroes.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I mean that's his thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, J.J. Abrams has lens flares and Snyder's got
Yeah,
the-
yeah. Zack Snyder does the speed ramps.
Yeah.
leave a little trademark.
Yeah. They're all
The cinematography was amazing, though. I loved it. It was very film noir kind of thing going on.
Who
Yeah,
runs
I like that
weird?
too.
Laura and weird?
Who runs
it
weird?
was weird. I
I
don't know.
think they're saying Mitch runs weird. I don't know.
Oh, where is that? Yeah.
I know Harrison Ford runs weird. He's got the
Oh, he does.
Yeah,
He's bow-legged. Yeah.
Yeah, he looks crap.
No, it's true. It's true.
So,
Oh,
the Flash
I-
runs weird.
Oh, the Flash runs like an ice skater with those arms.
Yeah, with his arms. Yeah.
Yeah, like a speed skater.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A competitive.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
very, very competitive.
Very competitive.
I'm guessing that Ezra Miller's not the most athletic dude.
No, we met him that time. I was like, "What's up with that guy?" He was out of the whole cast. He was the weirdest one. He had the hat was up. He was doing this
I'm like,
rapper
that's
thing.
cute.
I'm like,
Oh.
"Oh, okay."
He's a musician.
Oh, all right.
He's in bands. Yeah. He's
Yeah.
in bands.
So was
What are
Charles.
you
So was Charles Manson, Jerry. So was
I
Charles
told you one of my
he was a
one of
musician
my
too.
sons one of my sons played on one of his gigs. They were like the opening act for Ezra Miller's band. And
Oh,
remember you said, hey, you should have told him that when we met him.
exactly. Instead, he just sat there and stared blankly at it. All I remember is Ezra Miller was choking some fan a while back on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That was a little weird.
I read about
Remember
that.
that.
Yeah.
You want me to choke you?
Okay.
Yeah.
That
What
was bad.
what did you guys think about Batman and Wonder Woman having those intimate little moments?
Did
The
you
It was
little-
like one.
did you touch them? I like how a Batman with all his money had a wired mouse. I'm like, seriously? Chief?
I didn't
He
realize
doesn't.
that.
He doesn't trust
I'm
batteries.
poor. I know. I'm
Oh.
poor and I have wireless. you know.
Oh, that's
He
funny.
doesn't trust batteries.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right?
You touched my
Why
hand.
not? His name is in the title. Batteries.
Yeah. Oh.
Wah.
I did like that one, but though, do you think she's into younger guys? Dude, she's 5,000 years old.
Yeah, it was funny. That
Everybody's
was
a
good
younger
line.
guy.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah. What did everybody think of Jeremy Irons as Alfred?
I
I love
He
him.
was good.
You know,
He's great.
Oh,
You know,
Mitch
I
doesn't
love-
like him.
I like him.
no, I think didn't he say he didn't read the script or he didn't see the movie when was it this one or Batman versus Superman? He said, "Oh, I didn't read the movie. I had
Oh,
no idea.
really?
I showed up, I read my line and left." He goes, "I never saw it." I was like,
Wow.
He did a Michael Caine, just like, how much money? Did the check clear? You know?
Oh, like on Jaws 4?
Yeah, exactly. Like that paid for my house. Look at that.
I bought him more though. I felt like he had the quality of like really being the mastermind of all the gadgets and all that stuff. I felt, I don't know.
He's
And they
kind of a
didn't have
hybrid
the.
Lucius.
They did a couple of jokes
Yeah.
again in the previous version about dating. Gene Owen's been dating lately. It was like stuff like that wasn't here was good
Yeah.
because he
Yeah.
still had a couple of snarky lines, but it wasn't too over the top.
Yeah.
Well, the whole thing with making the tea was kind of like he's a little
And they're-
OCD about making the tea, and she was,
Or Bruce
Right.
Wayne shows up because this is Alfred. I work for him. I thought
I
that
was just gonna say that,
cute
yeah.
That was funny. I like that.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Hail Night's End. How are you, Josh? Thanks for coming along. I enjoyed Jeremy Irons' Alfred, and I really enjoyed the scenes with him and Diana. I thought they were really nice.
Oh,
Mm.
okay.
You know,
Well, didn't he
Yeah,
make
I
her
think
tea?
even
He
more that
wound up making her tea, though, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
'Cause he told her she was doing it herself, but then
Yeah.
you showed him pouring the water over it and
Yeah.
handing her.
because
Yeah.
she was doing it wrong. She was
Yeah.
Right, right.
scalding
I
the
thought that was
tea
funny.
and putting too much
That was
in.
funny.
Like, it was just proper
This-
English.
we're all
language to
muted?
make tea.
We're all muted.
We're all
Uh,
muted.
I don't
Maybe
know.
it's his computer.
Oh boy.
maybe.
I hope we're not all muted.
Yeah, we
Anybody
don't
else
have the
think-
icon.
I can hear you guys.
I can hear
Yeah,
you
so
guys.
can I.
Turn the volume up.
Anybody
Oh,
else
wait a
in the
minute.
chat? Let us know if we're.
Yeah, anybody else like the movie or not? Please let us know if we're all muted.
Maybe we're better muted. I don't know.
Yeah.
We got to
Look
put
at me with my sock puppet.
It must have been aliens or
It
something.
was me.
Explorer has a great channel. You guys should check his channel out. He does all kinds of weird, like paranormal and UFO kind of stuff.
Oh,
It's part of his-
Cool.
Oh, neat.
Cool.
And Dan Leroy and I are going to be joining him soon.
Oh, nice.
Oh, very nice.
Easter egg surprises, things like that. Stuff you didn't expect to see that made you go, "Wow!" Jerry.
There were so many spoilers and again, having read about what he had done so many times over the last couple of years, I didn't really feel like there were any things that surprised me. There were just things that were like, oh, I'm glad they did this. The rumor about Darkseid that came out there must have been like some kind of moratorium, but like maybe around 2018, 2019, Snyder started like tweeting out and posting on Instagram little tweets or little things about what he had planned. So a lot of that stuff I expected. There weren't really any surprises. It all felt like, okay, I figured this would be in there. I was glad the Joker thing was in there. Just so no, I wasn't surprised by any of it.
How about you, Mitch?
When Nick Fury showed up at the end, I didn't see that coming.
He teamed up with Deathstroke. They said, "Hey, dude, we're the Eye Club."
Exactly. I'll switch. Yeah, that was.
Oh my gosh.
No. Like Jerry said, unfortunately, everything was ruined. Thanks, internet. Everything. I mean, there wasn't one thing that was like, oh, I didn't know Martian. Oh, I did know Martian Manhunter was in it. Oh, wait, I didn't know Jared. I knew Jared Leto was in it. I mean, they told you everything. Sadly.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
For me, it was certain, like when Martian Manhunter showed up. I was
Right.
like,
Yeah.
oh, there he is.
Yeah.
The one thing I caught, and I don't know if you guys caught it, was the Dark Knight Returns tank.
yeah, I saght it at the end.
Oh, yeah, no, I caught
yeah.
that too.
Yeah,
Frank
I caught
Miller
that
bit.
too.
the Frank Miller tank. I like that.
Yep.
Might have been the
you're right, I mean,
Nightcrawler just without the spider legs, you know.
I wish they would have used the tank. That would have been cool.
That would have been better than that stupid thing that climbed up. But I guess the water was coming in, so he could have turned into a bat submarine, you know.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Let's run up those stairs that are like 3 miles up.
I have one that was interesting.
Stairs we go.
Yeah.
In the beginning, when they're doing that fight with Darkseid and the Green Lantern dies, did you
Yeah.
see the ring fly off
Yes.
and it comes
Yeah.
close to
Yeah.
Darkseid's finger, and then it goes
Yeah.
whoop, and it,
Yeah,
Yep.
That
Not,
was-
not a
I was
worthy
like-
candidate.
that's what I was gonna say too. I
wasn't
like
that
Mitch
funny?
mentioned
It was
it.
like
Yeah.
whoop, and then it went pew.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I
Yeah.
like
Did anyone see when he had the Zeta beams come out of his, or they make
Yeah, mega beams. That
mega
was
beams?
awesome.
Yeah, that was great. They zigzagged all over underwater to kill Aquaman.
That was cool.
Mhm.
I wish we could have seen more Omega beams.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, we only got to see that.
Oh yeah, I think they could have explained the anti-life equation a little bit more because
I didn't really.
for the normal people,
Yeah.
like it's
I
just
didn't. Yeah,
Was it the weird crop circles made of lava? Like, oh, there it. I'm like, wait, what's happening
it's
here?
like some sort of
Yeah.
symbol. It's a
Yeah.
language or it's like a recipe for something.
In the
it's a
comics,
recipe. Yes,
though,
exactly.
A recipe.
See, in the comics, they were when it was created by Jack Kirby, and in all
Yeah.
the Kirby stuff, it was always kind of never explained what the anti-life equation was.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was kind of a MacGuffin in a way. But then I think they did explain it in the Jeff Johns Justice League. I thought they actually gave it some specific whatever, designation
they
or whatever.
said
It
it
seemed like
was-
a mistake.
It was like the Unimind. It's like you would control everything
Everything
in
in
the
the
universe.
So
Yeah,
everything. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. Like we're gonna watch this show now. Okay. You know,
So they're like controlled zombies
Yeah.
kind of.
we're
people.
having pizza tonight. Yes, we are having pizza tonight.
Yes, Darkseid.
That's all it is. It's just you get,
Darkseid
you,
got
get,
the-
you get your way.
Like the
Okay.
Edward Nygma brainwave thing.
Yes.
Batman Forever, only on a universal scale.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's all it is.
And that's what he's been
And
and looking for all the
multiverse.
time, right?
Multiversal scale.
I want to
True.
shave without breaking my razor all the time.
That's true.
That's what he wants.
Anything surprise you, Edson?
No, I mean, as you said,
Oh,
it was more like when things happen, like that scene with Bruce Wayne and Martian Manhunter at the end. That was really nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew he was in it, and I thought that when they showed him in the hallway, after he shapeshifted, I thought that was going to be it. And then when he showed up at the end, it was like, oh wow, oh there's more Martian Manhunter, and it was a lot more meaningful that he was talking to Batman basically.
Mhm.
Of course, I knew Darkseid was going to be in there, but I still loved it when he finally showed up.
Yeah, we needed more Darkseid. Stacey, anything surprise?
Yeah.
Just I want to go back to the Green Lantern thing because we had just discussed that in one of our live streams about like the different what are they like a league of Green
Guardians.
Lanterns,
The
the
Green
Guardian,
Lantern-
whatever, and
No,
like
the Corps, the Green Lantern Corps.
so we just kind of talked about that. So I was like, I definitely noticed that stuck out to me.
Yeah.
That little part, I like that was a cool fight too when they got together with the gods and it was interesting. But the Green Lantern thing too.
There's actually Uche Waneri leaked a story the other night that he was told not to tell, and he told it anyway. So since he did, I guess we can.
Oh,
Part
right.
of the epilogue reshoots, Zach shot a Green Lantern scene.
Oh, and
Yeah.
they didn't throw that in there.
Warner Brothers told him, "Take it out, or we're not going to launch this movie on you."
Wow.
Why?
We're gonna shelve this movie. I don't know why.
Oh.
I think
They
they,
have a
probably
Green
thought he was
Lantern
lobbying
series.
too hard for a Green Lantern.
Yeah, no, they're working on a series.
There's
I
a
heard
series
that.
for HBO Max. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That might have been it. Yep.
And they
Yeah.
don't want. Their official word is this is it for him.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
based on the success of this, I wouldn't say never.
What for
Yeah,
Zack
it's-
Snyder? That's it for him. Is that-
Yeah,
Yeah.
Warner Brothers might be thinking that's enough, but what does
Yeah.
AT&T think? Because this is
Yeah.
all AT&T's mandate.
Mm.
Like you
Well-
you will do this because remember HBO Max is not Warner Brothers.
Right. So, so that was an interesting story, and it's interesting that they took that stance on him like that. I guess overall impressions. We'll go around the horn. We got about 30 minutes left, so and I want to give our two guests time to promote their own stuff at the end. So we'll start with you, Mr. Ordway. Overall impression of the movie.
Overall, I really loved it. I mean, I really did feel like it was just a really fun experience, and I wish that it happened that way in 2017, because I think I don't know if the reaction, it's hard to tell critical reaction, because people do seem to hate the guy for some reason, but I really liked it. I felt like it was definitely worth seeing, especially I'll watch it again. I mean, it's weird, thinking you're watching a 4-hour movie, but you're basically just watching a movie rather than saying, I'm going to watch, do you always go, how long is Star Wars or whatever, I mean, you're just watching a movie. So I want to watch it again.
How long is?
Sorry.
I mean, I'm saying, like, how I think a movie is a movie. And in some ways, the running time only becomes kind of relevant if you feel like you're bored. And I didn't feel like I was bored, So I would watch it again. I really enjoyed it.
No, we during the intermission and then again at the end of the movie when you stood up and I said, "What'd you think?" and you were like, I had a good time. What about you, Mitch?
No, I'll share the sentiment. From what I've heard about Zack Snyder, from like listening to Kevin Smith and everything, is he's just a really nice guy. Like, generally in Hollywood, you don't see nice people because it's pretty much full of scumbags. So the fact that they let him do this movie after, the personal stuff he had to go through with his daughter and all that stuff, and now he got to put his vision together, and you don't see that. I mean, this is a corporate world. People are just in it for the money, no matter how much they sugarcoat it. But it was nice that they let this guy have this opportunity to put together a thing that he worked on for years and, wanted to see to fruition. And it was just nice. I enjoyed the movie. I'm glad I saw it in the movie theaters, even though I did already go home and start watching it on TV. Jerry was bothering me. Like, "Are you still up?" And I'm like, "Yes, I'm watching it again."
Oh my goodness.
I came home and I put it right on to see some of the sequences again. But yeah, no, it'll be one of those go-to movies that you put on in the background, because I tend to always have a TV on as I'm doing something. I'll look up like, "Oh, this part's on."
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Usually it's Endgame. It's like, "Oh, Cap's gonna pick up the hammer now." Oh, okay. Ooh, oh, he's dancing with Peggy. We're good, and that's about it. So yeah, no, it was a very fun time at the show, and thanks for doing this and having us at the theater, because it did make a world of difference. I think if I was home, honestly, I agree with a lot of people. To sit in the chair for 4 hours without getting up and walking around your house or letting the dog out, there's too many distractions. I mean, I can't even watch The Simpsons for 25 minutes most of the time without somebody asking me or talking to me about something. So yeah, it's a different movie you should have seen in the theaters, but I doubt it's going to happen that way. So
yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, it's an immersive experience. Makes
yeah.
All right. Let me pick somebody at random. Edson.
I thought this was, I'm so glad it got made and got shown, because I thought this was a complete story. I felt like the earlier movie, it felt like because I used to be an avid reader. Now don't have much time to read a lot, but when I pick up a book and I kind of just skip through, that's what the first movies felt like. And it was kind of left me discombobulated, like, okay, that was it. That's not really the Justice League. It's some other thing. But this corrected it all, that whole thing. This was like a complete story. You had the proper beginning and all the middle, and it made perfect sense. I agree that my biggest regret was that I couldn't watch it in the theater, because I agree you do have a lot of distractions at home. I had to do a lot of clever things just to get it all in there, and it wasn't all in one sitting straight. I'll admit that, but it just I don't. It's like. I'm so glad that it came, because it gave, well, it's going to sound corny, but it gave justice to the Justice League, because that was not a real Justice League movie, the one we saw. It just wasn't. It wasn't a complete story, and this one was, and I'm definitely going to go watch it more.
Yeah, I think that first one felt kind of like a clip reel.
Right. That's a good. Yeah.
Stacy.
I mean, I'll echo what everyone's saying too. I mean, when I still haven't watched The Irishman, because I know it's 3 hours long, and I haven't wanted to sit there and watch it. But I think having the chapters makes it more digestible at home. I think you can, get through a couple go do what
Right.
you do and then come back to it. So at least there's that, aspect to it. And as far as like Zack Snyder's aesthetic, I just like the way his movies look. I'm super excited to watch Army of the Dead, which comes out in May on Netflix. I wish maybe we should go see that in the theater. We should see if they'll stream that for us because I like the way his movies look. So overall, yeah.
Yeah, I would dare to say that, love or hate his movies for the content, they look pretty. He's very visual storyteller, and he's got a real grip on pretty visuals, I would say.
Yeah.
You think of all Watchmen and 300 and all that. They're very stylized, highly stylized.
Yeah.
Pedro.
I think this was a great win for the fandom. Despite all the haters, labeling anybody who wanted the Snyder Cut as ists and phobes and all sorts of other bullshit labels. It's nice that the fans were listened to. And we definitely knocked it out of the park because this was outstanding. I mean, it doesn't feel bloated. It doesn't feel like it needed to be 4 hours. I mean, it definitely needed that time to breathe. I think it was definitely it's a great win for the fans.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. The fact that and it's I don't know if it's true or not, but I've heard that Zack didn't take a paycheck to do this.
Oh,
that he's been sitting in an edit room for over 6 months.
Jeez.
Doing this for the fans. They gave him the money to do what he needed to do to get the effects done, to do some reshoots and whatnot. But he sat there and put it together for free.
Respect.
So yeah, he did this for the people who rallied for him. And it's funny, like you said, Pete, the Access Media has been dogging the group of fans that started the whole release the Snyder Cut movement. And calling them all kinds of horrible things and saying that they're a danger and whatnot, and
they're terrorists.
They labeling them terrorists, and I don't understand where that comes from. When we just wanted to see something that was done, we just want to see this piece of work that's been sitting on a shelf for the moment.
I think a better term
it's a
is
movie
lobby
for God's sakes. Why the hate? It's a damn movie.
Right.
Go play with that GameStop stock, you punks.
Yeah. So it was a win for everybody involved. And what happened the other night on Uche's stream is unfortunate. I think it was poorly worded disclaimer, and we'll leave it at
poorly
that.
worded on whose part?
Zach's. But we'll
now I have to go find out what you're talking about because
it was a real.
It was a clunker, but
okay.
Yeah, we won't get into that here. We'll
All
keep
right.
it on the film itself, on the project itself. But yeah, I mean, it was just, and good on him for doing it. And like you said, Mitch, he's been through hell, this poor guy.
Yeah.
Personal hell, and then the pressure from the studio, the constant.
Because at the end of the day, when everything gets crazy, I go, "Hey, folks, it's just a movie." You know what I mean? I mean, as much as I love all this stuff, I mean, I do love all this stuff, but I do put it in perspective and go, it's just something you do in the dark for 2 hours. You sleep every night in the dark for 8 hours. You don't go crazy about that.
Repeat to yourself, it's just a show. I should really just
entertainment. It's fun and entertainment.
It's just something to do while you're passing the time before the inevitable.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Smart.
On that happy note.
Jude, your final thoughts, my friend.
I loved it. I thought it was done. I mean, I have to go and watch the first cut because now I have to do the comparison. But I really liked it a lot.
Oh, you really don't.
Well, it's nice to see something, get better, and you guys obviously got to see that, and I didn't. So going into it, I mean, I probably would appreciate it a little bit more if I did see the first cut. But I like the fact that he did get the opportunity to recut something. I mean, now if they could just go back in time and do Suicide Squad and do that right, maybe do that some justice.
Yeah,
because that seriously needs.
We said that last night on the way home. Like maybe they can go back and fix that now.
Yeah, really.
And hopefully this is maybe an ongoing movement where all of a sudden now they give you a second chance. If it doesn't, if people say it really fucking.
Or they'll
sucks.
actually give directors the first chance of doing the right thing to begin with.
Ryan Johnson's going to go back and fix The Last Jedi for me. I know it is.
I think that's
So it goes from the opening titles to the closing credits. That's
That's the best movie. Yeah.
Oh man.
It's really
that's
funny.
broken beyond repair, I think.
Oh,
Yeah, but what's really funny is you can go online and see fan edits of films. I saw the whole first Phantom Menace without Jar Jar
Yeah.
Binks, and
Yeah.
somebody cut Jar Jar Binks out of the whole entire film, and you didn't even know the difference. You're like, oh, this is still enjoyable and makes sense to watch. But yeah, no, I thought it was really good, and I think going to the movies and seeing it with everybody was just the theater experience for me is part of just movies in general. If I sat home with my mom, no offense, Mom, and watched it with her, I would have been more worried about her being bored and saying, "Let's turn on Frasier," as opposed to watching this. So seeing it with a bunch of people who I'm friends with in a theater, popcorn, enjoying it. I mean, that was, you know, especially during COVID. This is the second movie now I've seen in. I saw Wonder Woman with you guys, but now the second one in over a year, and I miss going to the movies.
Yeah.
Your mom would have killed you if she came to visit you and
Oh.
you let her sit through a
She
4
could have
hour.
taken a nice nap though if she was tired.
I was gonna take I was gonna take her
Cozy.
with us, and I kept thinking, oh, for 4 hours, man. And you guys would hear her cutting wood the whole time in the theater. So
Dude. Poor mom. This lives on
Poor
the
mom
internet
under
now.
the bus. What the heck, man?
This lives on the internet. So, yeah, Jude, I when we took the intermission, your enthusiasm was very infectious. You were really excited. To me, it felt like it had a feel like I haven't had since I saw Lord of the Rings or something. You know, it just kind of felt that big and sprawling. Especially that flashback scene with Darkseid. It's a shame that he did it in 4x3, and I don't understand.
Yeah, that made no sense. I still
His style choice to do that, because a scene like that, I thought immediately too was.
I felt like there would
the
have been
Amazons and the Atlanteans and
right,
and they're all
Well, it was IMAX. It was the IMAX format.
Yes, it was.
That's what that is. Yeah.
Yep.
Ah, okay.
And instead of to fit the wide, instead of cropping the top and bottom, he just.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
It didn't really bother me after a while, though.
I didn't know it was most of the time.
No, it was fine. There were just moments like that where you saw those armies charging. That, like, man, if this was all the way across.
With the,
Well, imagine.
great.
Yeah,
But-
imagine seeing it on an IMAX screen where it's 3 stories
Right.
tall. I
Right.
mean, that would have been pretty awesome. And hopefully they'll do that at some point, maybe a year from now or 6 months from now.
I know on the 15th they had 2 IMAX screenings. I think one was San Francisco and one was New York.
Oh, wow.
They had 2 premiere. Yeah,
Really?
so, you know, credit to the internet, because a lot of I was afraid it was going to leak. A lot of stuff was going to leak out, but nobody really said much.
No.
So,
That's
except
good.
for I saw it and I liked it.
Yes,
So
what's the-
real
what's
quick,
the-
I want to share this with you guys. Here's the current Rotten Tomatoes.
I was just going to ask that.
Oh, look at that.
Even the critics, the people who
Oh.
kind of put this down and didn't want to see it happen, are at 75%. Audience scored 97%, and that's over 10,000 members of the viewing
Oh,
public.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I think the other one, I'm going to look it up real quick. Let's see.
That's good. It shows the studios what fans really care about, and
Yeah, well,
you know, hopefully it sends a message.
2017 version is
Wow.
quite different. So,
Oh, yeah.
So that is very successful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, we'll wind this down. Let's give our 2 guests a chance to pimp their wares, as we like to say. Mitch, we'll start with you. I will.
Oh, I'm the
we'll
first pimp.
solo you.
Oh, okay. I'll be on the corner of 32nd and 3rd, bringing some of my troop with me. Well, typically I would be in the thick of Terrificon preparation, Terrificon, Connecticut's Terrific Comic Con at the Mohegan Sun. I am doing that now, but it's day by day, and everything's changing as we have to deal with COVID and health code and CDC regulations. So tentatively, optimistically, cautiously optimistic, there is going to be a Terrificon this July 30th to August 1st. I just have to deal with size limitations, crowd sizes, vendor sizes, all that stuff. So go out there, stop spreading COVID, get your vaccinations, get this thing the hell out of here so we can all go back to the movies and all the rest of the stuff, and I can go back doing big conventions. And then, of course, I got GamerCon at Mohegan Sun in September. which hopefully things are going to be much better by then, and we'll
Mhm.
be able to sit down next to each other and play video games. I remember doing a GamerCon once, and the Kiss showed up. Remember that, Keith?
I remember that.
I know it was Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley, the whole crew was there.
Yeah.
Wow.
They looked a lot like you and Jackie, though. I don't know why, but yeah, it's terrific con. And then you get to see folks like Jerry Ordway and all the other artists and writers who make the characters that they make these big movies that we're talking about for 2 hours. On the
Yeah, you
screen.
like the movie? Read the book.
Exactly. So come on out and meet the real stars of the comic books, the guys and women that put them together for 80 years now. So yeah, that's my wares. And then of course Jerry and I are on the Power Cosmic podcast every 2 weeks with a new episode. We just did one that's GamerCon.
Here it is.
Yeah.
There
Power Cosmic. We just did one last night, but Jerry said don't put it out because we don't want to spoil this. So don't watch this show that we just did for 2 hours because we just spoiled the whole movie. And then I'm on the local radio WPLR, and then I have another show, and I'm on a YouTube show, and
Nice.
I need to
Wow.
get a real job because I have too much free time on my hands. So. And that's all
yeah,
I
but
do.
you're using it productively, and that's what's important.
Mhm.
It is true. And then I walk a dog a lot. My poor dog. Now
Well,
ask Jerry what he's pimping.
I'm going to.
There you go.
Jerry, what are you pimping?
Actually, I'm not really. I don't know. What can I promote? I promote, if anybody is on Twitter, they can look at my pinned tweet, which is for OK Comics. Some stuff there you go. That was it.
Yeah. That was it.
Right here.
Yeah. I'm just selling those. They're half comic, half sketchbook, with a character called Proton that I've been working on, that I've been playing around with since I was a kid.
That's awesome.
That's
Cool.
Nice.
in between that, I'm just doing, occasional assignments I just did a cover for Archie Comics for a New Crusaders relaunch. I did a cover for the Batman '89 digital comic that DC's doing.
Oh, nice.
I did a cover for Black Hammer comic, hardcover collection. And I got other stuff that I'm just, I'm an old guy, so I feel kind of like I don't want to be on a monthly comic necessarily. I'm just trying to keep my schedule open so I can do stupid stuff like this and go to see movies that are 4 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was on a deadline, I wouldn't be able to do that stuff. Years
Right,
and years of, and I do commissions. I usually have more requests than I can kind of fulfill, but I'm still, I don't know if you can show, here's a page in progress I've been working on. I don't know if you can.
Hang on. I'll solo you back up here.
What's he got?
That's a splash
wow.
page for the next Proton chapter. I've got about 5. I guess this is 6 pages done. I want to get about maybe 10 or 12, and then I'll do another half sketchbook, half comic, and I'll have them when the shows start up too.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Jerry's awful modest because they just had Power Shazam collection come out a couple months ago. Don't you have volume 2 coming soon?
Right here.
I think volume 2 is supposed to be.
Yeah, there it is, right there. Yeah, that's coming up.
Isn't it later in the year?
Yeah,
Man of Steel. The Man of Steel collections came out.
Yep, and then you did that Neil Gaiman book, the Norse mythology.
The Norse mythology. Right,
that just came out. Yeah.
The first hardcover of the first 6 issues, I think I just saw yesterday at the comics or Wednesday at the comic store. So
that just came out. Yeah.
Yep. And
yeah, Jerry's got
Superman
tons of stuff. Every other week, it's like a new Jerry Ordway book's hitting the stands.
and I clipped out this Amazon link just to show some of the highlights here.
Yeah.
Some of the collected stories, but please do not buy them off Amazon. Go support your local
comic book store.
Yeah.
Right?
Please. But pick up some of this great stuff, including the death of Superman, which factors heavily into the Zack Snyder universe.
And if they're ever at Cave Comics in Newtown, they might bump into Jerry and I because that's where we usually hang out. So
there you go.
Oh, okay.
Wednesdays,
great place.
Yep.
Very cool.
We shot there, Cave Comics.
That's right. You shot in the old Cave Comics.
The old cave.
Next to the train, right? Wasn't it a train station or something?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, and that real sexy guy was in that clip. I remember. What was his name? Mitch Hallock.
Mitch Hallock.
Yeah. That's right.
That's right.
That shoot was something else because
Oh.
it was open.
Oh, the outtakes you have of that is great because people were shopping in the store and they would walk in front of the camera, and I was just like, son of a.
There's the camera, the lights, the microphone,
Oh.
and Mitch, and people would just go. And one person just stopped and stood like in front of Mitch, going, like,
Yeah, and I'm just like, hi,
Hello.
hello.
it's amazing.
I
don't
only
come to
did that
work.
once.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. I think that's on YouTube. I think some of those outtakes.
Yeah, it is. It's on
Yeah.
the Charlton Comics documentary.
There you go. There you go.
Charlton movie.
Wait till Zack Snyder gets a copy of that thing. It's a 4-hour version of it. and they digitally take out John Byrne's beard. Make him
Digitally?
clean-shaven. Digitally, yeah.
Maybe he'll come edit for free.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Come on, Zach. You know you want to.
No, I'm talking about Byrne.
Oh,
Zach-
Byrne.
You got better chances with Zack Snyder showing up than that.
No, if Jackie's here, John will come.
Oh, okay.
John and Jackie are like this now.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
He only talks to me because he has to, because he's like, okay, oh, hi, Jackie. Hey, Keith, how's it going? Jackie.
No. And he looks at me. Who's this guy?
Yeah.
Good old John.
Yeah.
That's going to about do it. I will go through our little housekeeping here. You can find us on the social media at GeekTimeNet. Oh, by the way, real quick, Jerry and Mitch's links to them are in the show notes.
Oh, thank you.
So if you want to find these guys, you easily can. So we're at GeekTimeNet on the Twitter, the Facebook, and the Insta. We are geektimenetwork.com, and you can email us at geektimenet@gmail.com. Please subscribe, like, comment, share. It only helps the channel grow. We're about 6 months into this thing now, and it's growing pretty quick. And I got to say, this community we've become part of is really freaking awesome. They're great people here. So visit all their channels, like the people in the chat, like Night's End, Explorer of the Multiverse, Jedi 6, Culture Casino, Fat Steven Seagal, and others. Lorena Creole, all of our
Steven Seagal.
Steven's awesome. He's a great guy. So that's going to about do it. Pete, I believe this is your cue.
Yes. See you next Tuesday.
If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. If you subscribe, make sure you click the little bell icon to be notified anytime someone from our show drops new content here. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.
Say, kids, what time is that?